The Sahara Desert, scorching hot, barren, and unforgiving. Yet the foundation of survival for millions of living creatures. Just imagine a place where the sun doesn't shine, it burns. A place ruled only by thirst and death. A place so vast that it could completely swallow countries like the United States, China, and India, and one that has erased the borders of not 2 or 3, but 11 entire nations. This is the Sahara Desert, a monstrous sea of sand stretching across 9 million square kilometers, relentlessly destroying plants, animals, and even humans through unbearable hunger and thirst. If someone were left in the middle of the Sahara, their chances of surviving would be almost impossible. But what if we told you that the place we now see as a hell of endless sand wasn't always like this? The same scorching dunes where camels walk today were once covered by a deep blue sea. And beneath the desert that has claimed millions of lives through drought lies an entire underground ocean. So massive that it could meet the world's water needs for 200 years. So why isn't this water being brought to the surface? Around 3 to 4 million nomads still live in this harsh desert, but how do they survive? And what are the mysterious structures that have been discovered in the Sahara? The Sahara Desert holds countless mysteries within its endless sands, mysteries that will leave you questioning everything. This is the journey of the Sahara, a story where every chapter reveals a new secret. The Sahara Desert. The Sahara is the largest hot desert in the world, covering nearly 9.2 million square kilometers. It is about the same size as the United States. Its sheer scale is almost impossible to comprehend. If the Sahara were a country, it would rank as the 5th largest nation on Earth. Some of its sand dunes rise more than 180 meters high, about the height of a 60-story building. Located in North Africa, this vast desert stretches across 11 countries: Algeria, Chad, Egypt, Libya, Mali, Mauritania, Morocco, Niger, Western Sahara, Sudan, and Tunisia. From space, it looks like a massive golden ocean with no clearly defined boundaries. What makes it even more astonishing is that scientists describe the Sahara as a giant sea of sand capable of swallowing entire villages and towns in the blink of an eye. Powerful sandstorms constantly move enormous amounts of sand from one place to another. These storms have buried numerous settlements, and over the past 100 years, the Sahara has expanded by nearly 10%. Yes, throughout history, many villages and communities have gradually disappeared beneath the shifting sands. But here's something surprising. When most people think of the Sahara, they imagine endless towering sand dunes stretching to the horizon. In reality, only about 1/4 of the Sahara is covered with sand. The rest consists of vast, rocky plains, barren gravel fields, and rugged mountain ranges. In some places, you can travel for hundreds of kilometers without seeing a single major sand dune. Now let's begin our journey through this extraordinary desert. An incredible journey through the world's largest hot desert. Welcome to the Sahara Desert. A world that may appear to be an endless sea of sand at first glance, but in reality it holds countless mysteries, ancient civilizations, natural wonders, and the lives of millions of people within its vast expanse. If we begin our journey from the west, the Sahara meets the Atlantic Ocean along its edge. Here, fishing communities live along the coastlines of Mauritania and Western Sahara. At sunrise, small boats head out into the sea, and hundreds of families depend on fishing for their livelihood. It is a truly astonishing sight. The world's largest hot desert standing side by side with the vast Atlantic Ocean. On one side lies an endless stretch of water, and on the other, thousands of kilometers of dry, unforgiving land. But as we move farther away from the ocean and deeper into the desert, the Sahara reveals its true face. Here, enormous sand dunes constantly shift and reshape themselves with the wind. Some rise to nearly 590 feet, creating breathtaking landscapes. At sunrise and sunset, these dunes transform into a living painting, glowing with shades of gold, orange, and red. It is a landscape that feels nothing short of nature's masterpiece. Amid these endless sand dunes, deep within the vast Sahara, live nomadic tribes such as the Tuareg and the Berbers, whose lives have been intertwined with the harsh conditions of the desert for thousands of years. The Tuareg are often called the blue people of the Sahara because of the deep blue garments they wear. But their most fascinating tradition isn't their clothing, it's their veil. In most societies around the world, women cover their faces. In Tuareg culture, however, it is the men who traditionally cover their faces with a cloth, while women usually leave theirs uncovered. This veil is worn not only to protect against blowing sand and dust, but also as a symbol of their culture and identity. For centuries, these tribes have adapted themselves to survive in the Sahara's unforgiving environment. They know where water can be found, which directions are safe, and which routes should be followed in different seasons. While modern travelers rely on GPS and maps, their ancestors navigated thousands of kilometers by reading the stars, the winds, and the patterns formed by the sand. There was once a time when enormous camel caravans ruled the trade routes of the Sahara. Tuareg merchants crossed the desert with hundreds of camels, transporting salt, gold, and other valuable goods. These journeys often lasted for months. Even in the face of scorching heat, scarce water, and relentless sandstorms, they could recognize routes that looked identical to outsiders. That is why they have long been regarded as the true guides of the Sahara. Hidden lakes and green oases in the desert. There are places within the Sahara Desert that have made life possible for thousands of years. These places are known as oases. An oasis is an area in the middle of the desert where underground water reaches the surface through natural springs or groundwater. This water allows trees and plants to grow, supports agriculture, and makes human settlements possible. Surrounded by endless sand and rocky landscapes, these places feel nothing short of nature's miracles. If you travel through Egypt's part of the Sahara, you'll come across the Siwa Oasis. Surrounded by thousands of date palms and olive trees, this region looks like a lush paradise in the middle of the desert. It is believed that people have lived here for more than 2,500 years. In ancient times, visitors traveled from distant lands to seek prophecies at the temple of Amun. It is also said that Alexander the Great visited this oasis during his campaigns of conquest. Even today, Siwa's culture remains remarkably different from the rest of Egypt, and its people have preserved their unique language and traditions for centuries. As you continue across the Sahara, you reach the region of Gardaya in Algeria. The settlements here were built specifically to adapt to the desert environment. Narrow streets, homes made of mud and stone, and traditional architecture designed to reduce the intense heat continue to amaze visitors. Viewed from above, the entire region resembles an ancient labyrinth. Farther south, places like the Timia Oasis in Niger reveal a completely different side of the Sahara. Here, you'll find date palms, small gardens, cultivated farmland, and even natural springs. Flowing water surrounded by dry rocks and barren land feels almost like an illusion. At first glance, it's hard to believe you're standing in the middle of the world's largest hot desert. For thousands of years, these oases were far more than just places to live. They served as vital rest stops along the Sahara's trade routes. When massive camel caravans spent months crossing the desert, these were the places where they found water, food, and shelter. In many cases, reaching the next oasis meant the difference between life and death. The Sahara's hidden mountains and their dangers. Beyond its oases, the Sahara is home to mountain ranges so extraordinary that it's hard to believe you're still standing in the middle of the desert. In southern Algeria lie the Ahaga Mountains, also known as the Hoga Mountains, one of the Sahara's most mysterious regions. Millions of years ago, this area was shaped by intense volcanic activity. Even today, black volcanic rocks, towering stone pillars, and strangely shaped mountain peaks dominate the landscape. At sunrise and sunset, the mountains appear to change color, making the entire region look like another planet. That's why many travelers describe the Ahagar as the most beautiful and mysterious part of the Sahara. The Tuareg people have lived among these mountains for centuries. To them, these peaks are more than just a landscape. They are an essential part of their culture, history, and folklore. Thousands of years old rock paintings have also been discovered here, depicting giraffes, elephants, and other animals. These ancient artworks are evidence that this region was once far greener than it is today. But the most remote mountain region in the Sahara is the Tibesti Mountains of Chad. Even today, reaching this area is far from easy. Surrounded by rugged valleys, volcanic plains, and massive rock formations, it is considered one of the wildest regions in the entire Sahara. Hidden within the Tibesti Mountains stands Emikusi, the highest peak in the Sahara, rising to nearly 3,400 meters. It is a massive dormant volcano whose enormous summit crater can even be seen from space. At the same time, this region is known as a stronghold for smugglers and rebel groups, and there is virtually no security here. Some of the Sahara's most dangerous regions include the Bilma and Fierro Trail in Niger. This area has become a hub for smugglers, bandits, and criminal networks. Weapons and illegal drugs are trafficked through these routes, making travel here potentially deadly for tourists. Another highly dangerous region lies along the border between Algeria and Mali. This area is considered extremely hazardous because terrorist groups, including Al-Qaeda and ISIS-affiliated factions, operate here. Kidnappings, armed robberies, and smuggling are frequent occurrences. Several foreign tourists and NGO workers have disappeared from this region over the years. And finally, there are the desert regions of Libya, which are well known for smugglers and arms traffickers. In many areas, old minefields still remain from Libya's past conflicts, with unexploded landmines continuing to pose a serious danger to anyone passing through. The lost city of Atlantis, deep within the Sahara Desert of Mauritania, lies a mysterious structure that has puzzled scientists, historians, and explorers for decades. It is known as the Richest structure, often called the Eye of Africa or the Eye of the Sahara. This formation looks remarkably like a human eye when viewed from space. Its circular rings resemble a pupil surrounded by concentric layers. With a diameter of nearly 40 kilometers, this gigantic eye is so vast that its true scale is impossible to appreciate from the ground. But the real question is this: how did such a perfectly circular structure form in the middle of a desert spanning millions of square kilometers? For years, scientists believed that a massive meteorite must have struck this location in the distant past, creating the formation. However, when researchers began studying the area, they were left astonished. They found no evidence of an asteroid impact even after examining its ancient geological history. So how did this incredible structure come to exist? Scientists are still searching for the answer today, but historians believe they already have one. In fact, the ancient Greek philosopher Plato described the lost city of Atlantis, whose layout bears a striking resemblance to the Eye of the Sahara. According to the historical accounts available today, thousands of years ago, Atlantis was home to an advanced human civilization. And the city was built in the shape of concentric rings. Atlantis was said to have 3 rings, with the royal palace located at the center, while the second and third rings were inhabited by the people. These rings were connected by bridges, with seawater flowing through the channels beneath them. Meanwhile, a map created by Greek historians around 2,500 years ago described Atlantis as being located to the west of Africa. When that description is compared with the modern map of the Earth, the location aligns with the Eye of the Sahara. And when you look at the Eye of the Sahara yourself, it does appear remarkably similar to the legendary city of Atlantis. In fact, there is no other ring-shaped structure on Earth quite like the Eye of the Sahara that could be considered a possible match for Atlantis. For this reason, many historians believe that the Richest structure is the lost city of Atlantis, a civilization that was destroyed thousands of years ago by natural disasters, wiping out its people almost overnight. The Sahara's greatest mystery. The Sahara's greatest mystery isn't hidden within its ancient civilizations, mysterious structures, or life-giving oases. Its biggest secret is that the land we now see as an endless kingdom of sand wasn't always like this. Once, mighty rivers flowed here, lakes shimmered beneath the sun, and creatures lived that would be almost impossible to imagine in today's Sahara. And this is where the Sahara's most incredible story truly begins. Around 100 million years ago, when the continents of Africa, Europe, and Asia had not yet taken their present-day positions, a vast body of water, known as the Tethys Sea, covered what is now the Sahara. Where towering sand dunes stand today, ocean waves once rolled across the landscape. The Sahara Desert was once the floor of this ancient sea. Over millions of years, its salty waters deposited thick layers of limestone across the region. Swimming through these ancient waters was a creature that, if it was still alive today, might have ruled the ocean. It was Basilosaurus. Despite its name sounding like a dinosaur, it was actually an ancient species of whale. It could grow up to 20 meters in length, and one of its most unusual features was its tiny hind legs. So was this whale trying to conquer life on land? Or did it actually come ashore? That remains one of its greatest mysteries. Over time, however, the Earth began to change. The continents shifted, the seas retreated, And this part of the Sahara slowly rose above the water. For the first time, the land was exposed to open air and changing weather. Over millions of years, wind, temperature, and erosion gradually transformed the landscape. But it didn't become a desert right away. There was a time when this region was covered in lush greenery. Thousands of years ago, the Sahara was home to vast grasslands, lakes, rivers, and an abundance of wildlife. Elephants, giraffes, hippos, crocodiles, and lions all lived here. People settled along the lakes, caught fish, and practiced agriculture. Scientists refer to this period as the Green Sahara, or the African Humid Period. Today, thousands of years-old rock paintings found across the Sahara preserve the memory of this forgotten world. They depict people swimming, herds of cattle, giraffes, and animals that could never survive in the region today. These ancient artworks reveal that the Sahara was once a land full of life. But then, nature changed course once again. Subtle shifts in the Earth's axis altered the path of the monsoon winds. The rainfall that once reached the Sahara gradually moved farther south, and the rain stopped coming. Slowly, the lakes dried up, the trees disappeared, and the grasslands withered away. The soil was left exposed. The wind began carrying it away, gradually reshaping the landscape into vast sand dunes. This transformation took thousands of years, eventually turning the entire region into an endless sea of sand. Billions of tons of water, hidden beneath the desert. The mystery of the Sahara isn't limited to its past. Even today, beneath this vast desert lies a hidden treasure that very few people know about. The Sahara's enormous underground water reservoir. Scientists call it the Nubian Sandstone Aquifer System. It is one of the world's largest underground freshwater reserves, stretching across nearly 2 million square kilometers beneath Libya, Egypt, Chad, and Sudan. If we think of the Sahara's surface as a massive desert, then beneath it lies an invisible world of water. What makes it truly remarkable is that this isn't ordinary groundwater, it's fossil water. In other words, it is water that was trapped underground thousands or even millions of years ago, when the Sahara was green and filled with rainfall, rivers, and lakes. Even today, many of the Sahara's oases and several cities depend on this ancient water. But reaching this hidden resource is far from easy. In many places, the water lies hundreds of meters below the surface. Extracting it requires deep drilling, massive infrastructure, and enormous investment. That is why most of it remains untouched. And the oases we talked about earlier are natural pools formed by this very groundwater. Amazing facts about the Sahara. When most people think of the Sahara Desert, they imagine a place with nothing but extreme heat and a severe lack of water. While the water shortage is certainly real, the Sahara's climate is far more complex than it appears. During the day, temperatures can rise above 50 degrees Celsius, but by night, they can drop rapidly to nearly freezing. The reason lies in the unique nature of the desert sand. It absorbs the sun's heat very quickly, causing the ground to become intensely hot during the day. But it cannot retain that heat for long. As soon as the sun sets, the heat escapes rapidly into space and the desert cools down. That's why it's possible to experience both scorching daytime heat and near-freezing nighttime temperatures within a single day in the Sahara. Another defining feature of the Sahara is its massive dust storms, known as haboobs. These storms are so powerful that they can transform a clear sky into a wall of dust and sand within minutes. In some cases, they rise thousands of feet into the air, creating near darkness even in broad daylight. But their impact extends far beyond the Sahara itself. Every year, billions of tons of dust are carried across the Atlantic Ocean, traveling thousands of kilometers before reaching the Amazon rainforest in South America. This dust contains phosphorus and other essential minerals that nourish the Amazon's soil. In other words, the world's largest hot desert plays a vital role in sustaining the world's largest rainforest, helping preserve one of our planet's greatest sources of clean air. Finally, let's take a look at some of the remarkable animals that have learned to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth, the Sahara Desert. In the Sahara's dry and barren landscapes, you can find the desert tortoise. While most animals struggle with the lack of water, this tortoise can survive for months without drinking. To escape the intense daytime heat, it spends most of its time in underground burrows or shaded areas. And whenever it does find water, it stores enough in its body to last for a very long time. Next is the red-necked ostrich, one of the largest birds in the world. It can grow up to about 9 feet tall and weigh around 150 kilograms. Although it cannot fly, its speed rivals that of many cars. When threatened, it can run at speeds exceeding 70 kilometers per hour. And if there is no escape, a single powerful kick from this giant bird can seriously injure even large predators. The nights in the Sahara are no less dangerous. As darkness falls, predators such as hyenas become active. Their eerie, laughter-like calls echo across the desert, unsettling travelers even today. Hyenas are known for being highly intelligent and patient hunters. They often watch for weak, injured, or isolated prey, striking only when the perfect opportunity presents itself. But when it comes to the Sahara's ultimate ambush predator, that title belongs to the sand viper. This snake spends most of its time buried beneath the sand, with only its eyes and a small part of its head visible above the surface. The moment a small animal passes nearby, it strikes with lightning-fast speed. In many cases, the prey never realizes that the danger was hiding right beneath it. Another creature at the top of the Sahara's list of deadly animals is the deathstalker scorpion. At only about 4 inches long, it may look harmless, but its venom is considered one of the most powerful among all scorpions. Its sting can cause excruciating pain, a rapid heartbeat, muscle spasms, and serious medical complications. For anyone traveling across the desert, it is one of the creatures that demands the greatest caution. Besides all of these, the true symbol of the Sahara is the camel. According to estimates, the Sahara Desert is home to around 25 million camels. That's all for today. Now tell us in the comments, would you like to experience the real journey across the Sahara Desert? And which country would you like our next documentary to explore? If you enjoyed this video, please support us by liking and sharing it. And for more exciting documentary videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the notification bell. Thank you.